What is up, Trojan family? Thanks again for joining us here on Conquest Call-In Show, the only caller-driven Trojan football call-in show on YouTube. You guys are the stars tonight. This is our opportunity to hear from you guys. Big game coming up tomorrow in Autzen. You know, believe it or not, with everything USC's gone through this season, they literally still have a path to the conference championship game. We'll talk about that tonight. We'll talk about changes on defense. We'll talk about your fears, your excitement, everything going into the game in Autzen tomorrow. With me, as always, Matt. Matt, how you doing tonight?
Doing all right, Tim. Hey, USC with a great week of college basketball. I'm really happy about it.
Yeah, I was there last night, and so were a handful of Trojans, including Caleb. If you check out my Twitter, I tweeted out a picture. The guys were there. You know, I'll tell you one thing about this team. They seem tight. I was watching these guys together sidelines. I was trying to stay between giving them their privacy and having a good time enjoying them taking in the game. But they were screwing around, acting like college students on the sidelines. Loose. They looked fun. They looked ready. And they looked tight and close friends. So great look for the Trojans at the sidelines on the baseline last night. Trojans took care of business well on the hardwood. Looking solid, as they should against Bakersfield. But they look like a solid team. One small thing, Matt, that I am worried is I really want to see do a little better job on the defensive boards. Still see some slight issues there, but we'll talk that later on as we talk about basketball. So you guys, here's our number up here. Don't be a stranger. This is why we have the show. 888-997-4539, 888-99-RILEY. Call us. Let us know. What do you guys think about going to this game? You know, we've played a lot up in Autzen, and lately it just hasn't been a place where well, it is a place. It's a place where Trojans' dreams are gone to die. It's not the easiest environment to play in. It's quite a loud and raucous stadium. I have some concerns about USC and getting the snap off, getting the snap count right. It's going to be loud. And anytime you have that, earlier this season, we had a little bit of trouble with snaps and we had dead ball fouls. This is definitely a game where we're not going to be able to do that.
There's very little margin for error, and that's not just a commentary on USC's defense. It's also a commentary on Oregon being really good. You know, Washington's the one unbeaten team in the Pac-12, but you know, Oregon's playing the best football. And I think if you ask most prognosticators right now who's going to win the Pac-12 title, most would say Oregon. You know, Washington's defense has been leaky. Oregon has been bringing it consistently, and you know what Oregon did to Utah in Salt Lake City. Most teams do not do that in Salt Lake City. So I think Oregon's the favorite. So USC is a very tall task. Late at night, deep in the woods in the Willamette Valley. Fascinating thing before we take calls. First visit to Autzen for USC since 2015. Now, how the heck does that happen? That's absolutely nuts. So it's about time we go to Autzen, but obviously not in good condition heading in there. But anyway, let's take your calls. 888-997-4539, 888-99-RILEY. So let's fire up the phone lines here.
They should be popping. It's on and ready to go, waiting for our first call. Before we get to our first call, then, Matt, since some people are a little gun shy tonight, usually we have a couple lined up right off the bat. By the way, just really clear, Ben, I see you out there. I see some ducks out there. We're taking duck calls too. No pun intended. You guys want to call in? We'd love to hear your thoughts. You hear thoughts about the Trojans and what your worries are. Because I know Ben's very worried about this USC game. Call us in. Call in. Let us know what your concerns are about facing the mighty Trojans out there, Ducks.
Okay, we haven't gotten any phone calls yet. So while we wait for a phone call, I see that Joe Boyd is referencing a Texas A&M message board saying DJ Durkin might be the next defensive coordinator for USC. Just want to say, this is not about message boards, although like that's not the surest guarantee or sign of a impending coaching change. But Jen Cohen knows that Durkin had some scandals at Maryland. If that is Lincoln Riley's choice, I don't think Jen Cohen allows that one to go through. So just in terms of Durkin, I don't think Jen Cohen will green light that particular choice if that's what Lincoln Riley wants. And as I've been saying, it's going to be a collaborative effort. You know that Jen Cohen's not going to take over the steering wheel here, but it's also can't just be something that Lincoln Riley does without any intervention or discussion. It's going to be both sides. Like Jen Cohen will have her list, Lincoln Riley will have his list. They'll meet in the middle. They'll get something that works for both of them. So with Durkin, that's one where if that is something Lincoln Riley wants, Jen Cohen's going to veto that one. That's my view of that particular situation.
Yeah. Well, we have a first caller, Matt, and I agree with you. It's gonna be a process, and USC is going to, because again, we have adults room now. We have professional administration. We are going to vet. We've had some issues with vetting coaches in the past. I think you get burned a couple of times. You learn your lesson. They will make sure this is right. Not only X's and O fit for this football team, they're also going to make sure that this is a culture fit and that this is a character fit for the university. So I agree with Matt 100%. And I put out the SOS and the call, longtime caller, Adam. Adam, how you doing tonight?
All right, how you doing? Thanks for taking my call.
Anytime, man. Appreciate you sharing.
Yeah, I appreciate it. I just have quick questions. Regarding the offense, one thing I've noticed is it almost seems like we don't really have an offensive game plan sometimes. It's like Caleb Williams is kind of playing like playground football and just running around and improvising, and given his talent, he makes some amazing plays, but it doesn't seem like there's that much of a plan. At least I don't see that. And on the defensive side, I'm wondering from you guys, why did they fire Grinch now? I mean, why didn't they wait somebody that they knew was going to be good and fire him at the end of the season?
I can give you an answer.
Go on, Matt.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Recruiting, and a 2026 prospect committed minutes, not hours, minutes, under an hour after Grinch was fired on Sunday. And so they wanted to send out the bat signal to defensive prospects, particularly in Southern California, St. John Bosco, Mater Dei, and elsewhere. We're serious about coaching up defense better. And they wanted to, stop the hemorrhaging and send a message as soon as possible. Just kind of a parallel here. The Edmonton Oilers were preseason Stanley Cup favorites. They're 2-9-1. They should be firing their head coach now. Why do you just allow the stench of a bad locker room and a broken situation linger? I think that's the parallel with firing Grinch now instead of letting it play out. Now, I will say a 2-week difference. The season's probably going to end on November 18th, barring a miracle, barring a USC win in Autzen Stadium, which would keep the Trojans mathematically alive in the Pac-12 title race. The regular season's likely to end on November 18th. So the idea that firing a guy 2 weeks earlier is a game changer, I never said that, never implied that. I said, just as long as he's gone by November 19th, that was the main thing. So I did say that. But I mean, there is certainly a rationale for, hey, why let it linger? Why let the speculation continue? Just end the uncertainty. And let's remember that the transfer portal window, this next one, not the spring, but obviously the fall winter one, opens December 4th. So you want to get the word out to, not just your recruits, but also to portal prospects. Oh, USC is actually serious about defense. So maybe I might want to go to USC, and they can get that leg up on everyone else in terms of hiring the best possible defensive coordinator. So you're just trying to get the message out to recruits and portal prospects. That's the definite rationale for why they fired Grinch now.
I also, again, I was under the impression that I was saying, look, let's just wait 2 weeks, etc. No one's gonna be able to coach these guys up, etc. But now I've come full circle and I've talked to some of my friends about it. They've set me straight. Thank you, Gabe. Thank you, Rusty, guys like that. I've been reading their stuff, and it couldn't get worse. The situation that going on in that locker room, I think, was probably becoming an issue. I think that the numbers, USC's, we're on a historical pace for the worst defense of all time. Why not make the move? At that point, I think it was just a save face. Yeah. It was becoming a story in and of itself. That festering story becomes maybe a distraction. So whatever benefit you have by trying to keep the continuity going or whatever was going on, sometimes you just have to cut bait, right? And I think they realized that it was becoming its own story and getting away in front of the season. You know, the players, the coaches were being asked every week about it. Boom, they cut it off. They know what's going to happen. Why not just separate and let it happen? Really quickly, Willie Permont, thank you so much. Fight on, fellas. I feel like have some duck soup tomorrow. I think we might actually. This feels like when Ed Ogeron took over the interim head coach years back. Excited to see an upset. Willie, I'm with you. I'd love to see an upset. I'm not calling one. As a matter of fact, I'll tell you guys a little later about what my prediction was for the game, and I'll redo that for you. But you know, I think that maybe we'll see. We'll see what this switch up. You know, we'll see what happens here with the defense and see if they react to it. So you got anything else for us?
Can I ask you guys one more question?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you, and I'll get off the phone, I promise. It's just, in my view, there seems to be a culture problem at USC. I mean, I remember those defenses in 2004, 2005 when we beat Oklahoma. It seems like there's a culture problem at USC. Our players don't seem as tough and as defensive minded. And I kind of put that on Lincoln Riley. Do you sense the same thing, and do you think it can be turned around?
Matt, you want to go first?
I don't think it, Adam, I mean, we throw around the word culture, and I think culture can mean a lot of different things. Like, it's often used as a catch-all term. To me, I think these players have the right mentality. Like, I think they want to win. I think they care. I don't think they're lazy. I think the coaching sucks. And I also think that the strength and conditioning program isn't doing them any favors. And that's a reminder that Benny Wiley has to be sent packing along with Alex Grinch. So USC's gotten one of the two boxes checked, but not the other one. And here's the big reminder with the defensive coordinator search. The defensive coordinator is going to, ask Lincoln Riley, hey, your strength and conditioning program doesn't seem to be hitting the marks. Are you going to retain Benny Wiley? If you are, I don't think I'm going to work for you, Lincoln Riley. So it's going to be really interesting to see it during and connected to the interview process for defensive coordinator candidates in late November when other teams' regular seasons end and USC can talk directly to candidates instead of just their agents. It's going to be really interesting to see how that process goes if Benny Wiley is still employed, by Thanksgiving. And then when we get into that last week of November, when USC will need to make its hire so that the transfer portal opening December 4, you're ready. You have someone in place that recruits can then, or portal prospects can then flock to. It's going to be really interesting to see in the last week of November if USC hasn't acted on Benny Wiley, if the interview process is what eventually pushes him out.
I don't know if it's a culture issue. It looks like it's been a defensive issue. Here's what I'll say. This team's been fighting. I'll throw it back to you, Adam. Have you seen this game? Have you seen any quit in this team? Right. I haven't seen any quit in this team. I've seen them coming back from double-digit
quit in this team.
Right. I'm seeing them come back from double-digit deficits. I've seen some deficits and some issues on explosive plays like we've seen all season. I've seen some poor tackling like we've seen all season. I've seen some guys not lined up on time like we've seen all season. But I haven't seen any of these players giving up, having attitudes, infighting with each other. I'm sure, I obviously I don't have any information on what's going on behind the scenes, but I'm sure there is, there are some unhappy players in this situation. I think that some guys, there have been some question marks on the personnel issues. I'm wondering, again, now that Alex Grinch isn't there, will we see a different rotation? Let's just see what happens. But systemic and overall, do I see a culture issue? I see Trojans fighting like Trojans, if you ask me.
No, I agree with you. I just worry that I hope Lincoln Riley, values defense and isn't going to continue the trend for the last several years where he has great offenses and not good defenses. But guys, thanks for the analysis and great show, and fight on. Fight on,
Adam. Thanks for calling in as always. Oh, that's
Thank
Adam.
You.
That's Adam calling in like he always does. Appreciate you being here, Adam. That opens up a phone line for you guys. Remember, here's a number right up above us if you need to know it. 888-99 Riley, 888-997-4539. I recognize this phone number. Matter of fact, you guys recognize the shirt. Hey, what's your name and where are you calling from, Gabe?
Hey Tim, what's up, man?
Great. How you doing, man? You like my shirt?
I love your shirt. I'm driving right now, but I did see it before I left.
Oh, awesome.
It's a beautiful shirt.
I got a sneaky feeling you've got a lot to say on this topic, Gabe. Well, so I'll throw to you what Adam just asked us. He asked us, do we think that there is a culture issue, and does it start with USC? Does it start with Lincoln Riley?
No, I don't think it starts with Lincoln Riley. There's been a culture issue at USC for a very long time. I don't think that's something you can just fix in a matter of a year and a half now, maybe 2 years. It's deep-rooted. Going the route of the portal is a great fix temporarily, but the culture won't be fixed until Lincoln can get his guys in the system like high school players, not transfer portal guys.
No, absolutely. And then what do you think? What do you think about, let's go pivot. Actually, no, what'd you call? You called in. What'd you want to talk about?
I just have some thoughts on the Oregon game, honestly. I don't think it's a great matchup for us at all. I was thinking about what their offense does and what our defense is going to be asked to do. And I think you literally couldn't draw up a worse matchup, to be honest. I mean, they get the ball out fast. They throw it short. They have elite athletes. Our defenders are going to be asked to come up and make open field tackles, read the play well, and they take those deep shots when they lull you to sleep. So I don't think it's going to go. I just don't think it's going to go well for our defense at all.
Yeah, they're well oiled right now. Their run game, we've been having trouble with run. Their offensive line, I think, is going to be one of the better offensive lines we see all year. And the running attack that they're going to have that we've struggled with the most. Bucky Irving's no joke. Since he came over from Minnesota, right? I think Minnesota. Yeah. Since he came over and transferred in, he has been tearing it up. I don't think we've seen a running back like him yet. Matt, what are your thoughts on what we're facing as far as, especially on defense?
Oregon's offensive line.
Well, and the scary thing. Go ahead, Matt.
Oregon's offensive line is first class, and that right there makes it a nasty matchup because the USC's defensive line is the best position group on this defense, and yet got gashed a lot by Washington, and Oregon really has an even higher standard in terms of offensive line play. So I'm not looking forward to this matchup.
Yeah, I think you both nailed it. We're going to be this team. Here's the problem that we've had. Tell me if it sounds familiar. This offense is going to have zero room for error. They're going to have to score every time down the field, right? And we know that's really a hard task to face because we know this defense, they're out fighting and battling, but there are going to be some issues. We have guys that have called plays before, but to what detail, and also, where I'm worried is coming out at halftime for adjustments. I think these guys can call a good game plan, but do they know how to make the adjustments at halftime? That's going to be very interesting to see as well. What else you got, Gabe? Oh, we might have lost Gabe. Yeah, I think we had. Well, Gabe, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate you calling. If we dropped you, please call back as soon as you can. Always appreciate you calling in. Next caller, where are you calling from, and what's your name?
My name is Enrique.
Enrique?
Yes, sir.
Hi, Enrique. How you doing? And where are you calling from? Did you say Oxnard?
Yes.
Oh, Enrique. What is on your mind tonight?
I'll tell you what's on my mind. Can you hear me?
Yes, you can. Loud and clear.
Okay, well, first of all, I've been a Trojan since I was in diapers. And it really bothers me of what's going on in USC. I used to watch all the Heismans from the 70s and 60s. So I'm 70 years old, but I'm still alive. In other words, I'm the greatest Trojan that you can imagine. So I will fight till the end. And this is what this team needs. To fight. To fight. To fight. Not just put up your two little fingers. Fight. We're going to go play a farm university with no tradition, no history, Halloween costumes. What the hell is going on with us? And you know what I hate? I hate with all my heart to see those idiots, and starts with the coaches, with the towels in the, like UCLA used to do it. They are ridiculous. We are losing respect. We are, count them with your fingers. We are one of the blue bloods, the real university that we give the best. We can show pride. We can show, they stole one Heisman trophy person in a runner. We have to fight everybody. They hit us with 5 years, something like that, because of that stupidity. And look what they're doing right now with all the situation with the transfer portals and the money coming in and everything. And when those people, with all due respects, they were raping little boys in Penn State, they give him a little thing in the hand. Don't do that. USC, let it be known, they hate our guts from the east to the south to the north. They can't stand us because we have the best band that anybody has. We have the beautiful cheerleaders that nobody has. I wish that Mr. Lincoln Riley wakes up, because he comes from a farm to a huge city, and he cannot win. He cannot win titles with no defense. Can he not grown up? He's getting $100 million for 10 years. Wake up, buddy. You don't want to lose your job. This is USC. Okay? So I'm fed up of what I see, and people laughing at USC and doing all stupidities. Please, somebody go to the sidelines and go and tell those idiots to put away the towels and act like Trojans. Okay? So that's all I wanted to say. I love USC. I love my wife. And right after that, I love USC.
Oh, good call.
What an epic phone call.
Enrique, you are
compare it. Yes.
You're up for a call a year, and we've only had about 5 or 6 shows. So I think you might be going into the clubhouse as the leader on this one, because all your passion, all your energy, everything you're feeling. There's a lot of Trojans out there that feel exactly the way you do, and just really aren't getting it out. And so I really, really appreciate you calling in. I'm with you about the towel waving, especially. I'm not as down on all the coaches as you are, but believe me, I'm in the minority. Most of the fans, most of the fan base, most of the media are right behind you, ready to see some damn change quickly. Excellent calls. Is there anything else you want to say about to the Ducks? Because I loved your opening.
Yeah, I just like you guys, what you're doing, and I like Semet. He's excellent. I read all his articles and stuff, and I can tell him that he loves USC. He's always laughing. All I'm saying is, USC is a football school. Oregon is a farm, and UCLA, it's a basketball school. And with this, I leave you guys, and we will win. Believe it or not, we have nothing to lose. We can go and fight our ass. Bye, guys. I love you.
Love you too, man. Hey, fight on, Enrique. You really brought it. That was a great call, really, to start this thing up and get the team and the fan base fired up. Enrique, I hope you call back next week, because I think we may need you next week. Great call. Really quickly, caller. Hi, caller. Can you hold on 1 second? Give me 1 second to read the super chat from Adam. We got a second one, and then we'll get you right on. Adam, thank you so much.
All right.
For the $10 super chat. Matt, who would be your pick for this strength? I think we did this last week, but Matt, have you updated your strength coach list?
Well, the main thing is, I think you need to be battering the doors of Alabama, Georgia, the established programs that do it right, and you're not going to get the main guy, but you could get the assistant guy at one of those programs. You need to be diving deep into the programs that are doing it right, that are doing it well, and you might not get the number one, but you can go for the number two, and you tell the number two, hey, you come to USC, you can be our main guy in charge. I mean, I would say that would be the framework of how USC could go about this. But I mean, you identify the places where, these guys are tough. Like this culture, this system is producing tough football players. So that should certainly guide what USC does. But I have to circle around to that epic all-time Hall of Fame phone call. Was that Hector Salamanca? Was that Don Eladio? Was that Gus Fring? Was that an Ennio Morricone spaghetti western? Or was that Sports Talk Los Angeles? Like, that had everything. Just an absolutely majestic call and filled with, real pride for USC. And just listening to Enrique, like, that should be the level of pride that every football player has. When you take the field, you put on that USC helmet, you wear the cardinal and gold. Have we seen that level of pride? So, I mean, you know what? So when Adam said the culture's lacking, I really think it's more about the defensive coaching being bad, and I think it's about the strength coaching being inadequate. And I think these kids have played hard. But you know what? Listening to Enrique, have they just absolutely laid it all out on the line every play? Would I say that? Not really. So maybe this notion of culture has something to it. I still think it's about deficient coaching. Like, you can have all the culture you want, but if the coaching is deficient, culture can only do so much to minimize that. So I stand by the point that it's more about bad coaching than anything else. But having that level of pride, USC would be a better team if it had Enrique's level of passion. Definitely wanted to point that out.
Yeah, for sure. I love that call. I hope he calls in. And also, one more before I get to the caller. John, thank you also for your super chat. Is it me, or does Barlow need to see more snaps? Yeah, he needs to see more snaps. When he's got a chance. As a matter of fact, it seems like going back to the UCLA game last year, Matt, whenever they give Darwin Barlow the ball, it just something really like wow happens, and he did not disappoint last week at all. Raleigh Brown came in on that play to score that touchdown, just absolutely showing off his speed and his ability. At some point though, we do have a pretty crowded backfield. So we would love to see them, but are we going to take snaps? Are we going to take the ball out of, and I don't know, Marshawn Lloyd is going to be a game time decision, but are we going to do that? Are we going to take the ball out of his hands? I mean, where are you going to, who are you going to move? I mean, I would love to see Quentin Joyner. I want to see him, that burst he has. Quentin Joyner, guys, is a true freshman. You see a lot of you guys don't even know who he is. You're going to know who he is. You're absolutely going to know. And his teammate from Texas as well, Amarian Peterson. You will know these names. But right now, man, a healthy Marshawn Lloyd, I want him protecting, blocking, and I want him carrying the ball. Matt, quick, because we got a caller. Anything on Barlow?
I think it's a great game to give Barlow and Joyner lots of carries. Look, you're not in the college football playoff hunt. You haven't been mathematically eliminated from the Pac-12 chase, but you're on the periphery of that. I think these last two games are a really good time to give your less used players some run. And also with Barlow and Joyner in particular, like USC's best path to victory in this game is to run the ball all the time and to just sledgehammer it and just absolutely, 7-8 minute touchdown drives, keep Bo Nix and that offense and that offensive line on the sidelines as spectators. So why not? Why not go all in on a run heavy game plan? I know that's not how Lincoln Riley normally does it, but really, this is not high stakes poker the way we hoped it would be. We hoped this USC Oregon game would be two teams with no more than one loss, playoff stakes on the line for both sides, Pac-12 title game berth on the line for both sides. It doesn't really fit that given USC's struggles. So why not play with nothing to lose? That's something Enrique mentioned. You have nothing to lose. It's true. Why not give the ball more to Barlow, to Joyner? Why not go with a run-heavy game plan? Try it out. It might not work, but again, you do not have anything to lose in this game.
Yeah, absolutely. Caller, thank you for being so patient. And caller we got one on waiting as well. We'll be with you in a moment. Caller, thank you so much for being so patient. What's your name and where are you from?
My name's Randy. I'm from about an hour south of Eugene.
Randy, how are you doing? A Duck fan, then I'm assuming, yes?
I am. I'm totally sad that this is going to be like one of the last years we're going to have our annual little scrap against USC.
Well, it hasn't been an annual thing, actually. We miss each other every year.
Well,
I think it'll be the
it's
same
just a
thing.
few
Probably
years.
it'll probably be the same thing as we go into the Big Ten. So what's in your mind about the game?
Right, but I always look forward. Well, I'm thinking, I'm hoping it's a good game because I don't like blowouts. But I'm thinking that that they're going to end up sacking your quarterback, and I think he's going to have an off game. And I just think that you're not going to be able to stop the run game, and I also think our cheerleaders are some of the prettiest in the Pac-12.
I agree with you there. Year in year out have some very pretty cheerleaders. I will. They're not the song girls, but they're not bad. And as far as as far as US, well, listen, we have the song girls, so everyone else kind of pales in comparison. But yes, you have very pretty cheerleaders. I would have to say most cheerleaders by definition are pretty, so we'll leave it at that. The thing I'm going to say though is yes, some teams have and some teams haven't. Remember, Caleb Williams is Caleb Williams. Whatever you guys want to say, you guys get to him. That's gonna be the best way to do it. You want to rattle him. He doesn't get rattled very easily, but I do think you guys are gonna have a lot of pressure. It's gonna come down to, do we run the ball? Can we be patient with our offense and give Caleb a chance? Because if you guys get a situation where we're down 14, 16 17 points, then that's when it might get ugly. But if USC can keep themselves in the game, like Matt said, run the ball down the field, burning clock, limiting the amount of time that Bo Nix and snaps Bo Nix gets and drives Bo Nix gets, that's going to play into USC's chances for an upset in this game. Anything else?
Yeah, but we always go after the sacks, and the best quarterbacks we play, we usually send them limping off the field. A Colorado guy had to go to the hospital afterwards. After we played Washington, he wasn't the same for 2 games after that. So we got a little thing about crushing quarterbacks, especially seems to be the better they are, the more they get hurt.
Well, Randy, I got a question for you. I got a question for you. You guys are doing really good this season, but you know who also hurts quarterbacks? USC's defense. That? USC's defense has put a couple quarterbacks on the IR a couple times this year as well. Your concerns about USC's defense getting to Bo Nix?
Do you think anybody's got to Bo Nix yet?
I didn't ask you yet. I'm talking about USC and their pass rush. I'm talking about. You ever heard of Bear Alexander?
Well, how did Utah do against USC?
I'm sorry. Are we playing Utah tomorrow?
No, I'm just.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought we were playing the Ducks. Yeah,
Utah.
Yeah. Okay, but we're not playing Utah. We're not playing Utah, and you're not playing Utah. So, have you heard of Bear Alexander?
Yeah.
Okay, and so you're not concerned at all?
No, I think we'll deal with him just like everybody else trying to get to Nick. How many times has Nick's been sacked this year?
It only takes one.
Right. Well, how many times has your quarterback been sacked this year?
Well, a handful of times.
Okay.
All right, then. Well, listen, Randy.
I hope it's a good game. I just want to keep everybody safe.
I do too. I hope everyone gets healthy because I'm worried about Bear Alexander getting loose on Bo Nix, because you know what it's going to sound like?
Listen, we talking about practice.
Probably nothing, because it's going to be a whiff. Nobody's going to get to Nix. You don't have to worry about that.
All right, then. Hey, Randy.
Anyways,
all joking aside, thank you for calling in. Appreciate the Duck angle on this one. Appreciate any Duck fans want to come and call. Randy, you're a good sport, and wish your team the best the rest of the year. Not as much tomorrow.
You guys too.
All right, take care.
All right.
All right, that opens up. Oh, we got 2 calls. I wonder if they'd be Duck fans. Randy was a good sport, Matt. Sorry if I was out of line. I just had to. I couldn't help it. Hey, thank you for calling in. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
My name is Brandon Jones from the Light the Torch podcast. I'm
Wow.
from Long Beach, California.
Awesome, Brad. Thank you for calling. Listen, you guys, if you haven't checked them out, Light the Torch has a great show going on over on their channel. Just look it up on YouTube, Light the Torch. Brandon, thanks for calling in. What's on your mind?
Well, first I want to thank you, man, for joining us last week to preview the Washington game, man. Yeah, thank you for the shout out as well. Was that last week you gave a shout out? Yeah, appreciate that, man. Hey, man, we're going over here, man. Thanks to you guys. So, yeah, I called, man. That last caller, man, he really has no clue what's coming, does he?
I listen. I appreciate Randy calling in, and I will tell you, I'm not predicting any great things from USC coming into the game, but I will tell you, and we all know anyone's ever been hit by somebody, it only takes one hit, and it's just going to be probably, and that's the end of their year, because behind them we've seen their quarterbacks, we've seen Oregon's quarterbacks. Without Bo Nix, this team's going to be done. So I'm not calling for anyone to get hurt, but if he brought out the point about us worried about Caleb getting hurt, I would be more concerned if I was Bo Nix, because we're out of we are out of the playoff race. I hate to break the news. Anyone out there holding out some hope, it's done. We got an outside chance of getting to the conference championship game, but the Ducks, man, the Ducks are good. I'm gonna feel sick. I'm gonna say it. I'm gonna say it with my friends here. So I think that they have a chance to win a national championship with this team, like literally an outside chance. They're that good on both sides of the ball. But what he's got to hope for is his team stays healthy, because, man, I'm just telling you, they lose Nix. Good night season for them. But anyway, what else you got, Brandon?
I actually agree with that. I think if we don't beat them, I don't see anyone else beat them. And I will say this though, Bo Nix is never going to get sacked if he's throwing slants all day.
Yep.
How long does it take? I mean, but I will say this though, Bo Nix also hasn't played anybody like Eric Gentry. So good luck to him trying to throw over Gentry, under Gentry, or whatever that may be. But I think we have a real shot in pulling off an upset, man. If Lincoln would actually listen to us, Tim. If he sticks to just the keys that we gave last week, both of you you and I are both in agreement, man. As far as running the ball, that definitely needs to happen. We definitely need to establish the run game.
I'm taking
that, man. We have a great chance.
I'm taking a page from Matt, and I'm also trying to channel my 2 nights ago, the only one to pick the Trojan upset was Tony Altimore, and he was emphatic about it. He's saying, "Hey, look, anything can happen on Pac-12 after dark," and that's what we're looking at coming up. A late game in the Pac-12. Weird stuff happens. We see it every year, and this could be another year with that as well. Matt, any thoughts on an upset by the Trojans running the ball?
That's the path to victory. That's the path to victory. Lincoln Riley needs to follow it.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Brandon, any other thoughts?
All of us picked the upset as well, except for Tyler, man. So, guys, you go check out the show. Make sure you guys go get on Tyler's head about that, man, for not picking the upset, picking against our Trojans here.
For sure. And, I was a coward too, Brandon. I'm embarrassed to say it, but I also picked against us. But this is definitely one of those. I mean, when it comes to USC, favoring USC, I love being wrong when it helps USC. Believe me, I would love to be wrong on this one. So Tyler and I, we're the turncoats. We appreciate you. You guys like you and guys like Tony, your moxie, say, "Hey, we got this thing. We got an uphill battle." Like if you didn't catch earlier, but earlier I was saying we're going to ask our offense to be perfect because they're going to have to be perfect, and that's a lot to put on. But listen, if I'm going to ask any quarterback and any offense in the country or any coach in the country to be perfect, I'm going to put my money on definitely on Riley and Caleb Williams. Let's see if their offensive line can hold up, because it just takes a holding penalty, a fumble, and that derails the entire game. We saw that, that touchdown got called back for that holding. There's a number of things happen in that game. You got to almost play flawless when your team's giving up 50 points a game. Well, 40 plus a game.
I do have one more question, man. I'm gonna let you guys get back to it. Matt, I have a question for you, actually. What is your beef with Benny Wiley? You don't feel that he's improved the team's strength at all? I mean, it seems like
Is this a tough team?
The numbers have
Is this a tough team? This doesn't look like a tough team to me. And if you don't have a tough team, then the strength coach definitely isn't measuring up. And I mean, we can talk about Alex Grinch not being able to coach his way out of a wet paper bag, which certainly influences the defense's results. And that would, you could make the argument it's more of a Grinch problem than a Benny Wiley problem. But I think that, if you're aspiring to win national championships, which of course USC should, and USC fans definitely want national championships, you should be going for the best. And I don't think anyone can say that Benny Wiley's been the best. And let's remember, when Lincoln Riley took over as head coach at Oklahoma from Bob Stoops in 2017, he had Jerry Schmidt, Stoops' longtime strength coach for that 2017 season. That was Lincoln Riley's best season as a college head coach. Came within an eyelash of making the national championship game that season. Played that overtime game against Georgia in the 2018 Rose Bowl. That's the best Lincoln Riley team ever assembled. And it was a Jerry Schmidt team in terms of strength and conditioning. Now, Benny Wiley, he's been okay. Lincoln Riley's 2018 and 2019 Oklahoma teams made the playoff. Last year's USC team won 11 games. So, Benny Wiley's not terrible, but he's not the best. And at USC, you got to go get the best. Much as you can't keep having Alex Grinch on your staff, you need to go out and get Jim Leonard. You need to go out and get a rock star as defensive coordinator. So if you're going to get a rock star at defensive coordinator, get a rock star as strength coach. I don't think Benny Wiley's bad, but he's not going to win you national championships at USC. And that's our standard, and that's why he's got to go. He can go to a group of 5 program and be a strength coach.
Wow.
All right, Brandon.
All right, I will say this. I'm sorry. Let me rebuttal this real quick. I don't feel that strength conditioning, it doesn't have much to do with toughness, man. That's the mental side of the game. Toughness is the mental side of the game. That has nothing to do with strength conditioning. But if we are going to go get the best, and peace out, Benny Wiley. But until then, I don't know, man. I don't think he's that bad, as bad as you think he is. But that's just me.
Well, I will say this, and I meant to say this because I heard him say it a while ago. There's not many. I used to watch all the shows, and I had all this time, but now that I'm doing this stuff, I lose a lot of time to watch some of my favorites. But it's still to this day one of my favorites to watch. Whenever they have him on, I definitely watch the show. Is Shotgun Spratling, you guys. If those of you are Trojan fans, I would be surprised if you didn't know who Shotgun Spratling is. Definitely follow him on Twitter. But he made the point. He said, "Is it the strength coach when you have 250, 260 pound linemen that have been converted from linebacker to defensive line? Our players are undersized and they are getting pushed around. But this is not, again, to put the finger at guys that are badass Trojans working their hearts out. But when you're undersized, it's not about strength or heart or whatever. It's you're just not big enough to play that position. You're being placed in a difficult spot."
Right. I agree with that 100%.
But listen, I will tell you this, Brandon, I'll tell you this. Whenever I go up against Matt, I'm wrong more often than I'm right. So you might be on the wrong side of the fence on this one. That's all I'm going to say.
It's just an opinion. But I agree with it. One thing, say we're going to go, we do deserve the best. So if we're going to go get the best, then let's do it.
Right. Sounds great. Brandon, thank you so much. You guys, if you haven't checked them out already, make sure you're getting over to the Light the Torch podcast. Just brilliant panel. They're on every week. You just got to search on YouTube, Light the Torch, and you'll find Brandon and his guys, and you will thank me later. Thanks, Brandon.
Thank you. All right, Trojan fan. Bye on.
Bye on. Okay. I got a sneaky feeling, Matt, like always, you're going to be right. I'm going to be left holding the bag when I was hanging out for Benny Wiley. You go, "Tim, I told you 7 months ago," like you always do. And that's probably going to happen again. We have another caller.
I don't think I'm right that often.
You have been quite right quite often. Thank you, caller. Where are you from and what's your name?
Yes, sir. This is Big Frank from Tucson, Arizona calling.
Big Frank, how you doing?
Not much. Yeah, how you guys doing? I talked to you guys a couple of days ago. Like I said, I'm coming from the perspective of a player and a fan. point of view and looking at it from that side. But let's give it to Enrique, though. He had me so crunk up on a Friday night. I felt like I was in the movie. I felt like I was in the movie The Program, sitting next to Alvin McLatimer there for a minute. So I was really amped up on that one. So
yeah, Enrique's special,
kudos
man.
to him.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I'll make it real quick, though, buddy. My thing is, though, coming from a player, like I said, I played in the Big Ten, and my question is, I noticed after the bye week, something was going on with USC. The offense was struggling. After coming out of a bye week, you normally struggle maybe a half, till you clean it up because get the rust off. But I was talking to a colleague. I'm like, no, something's going on in the locker room. I don't know. It's NIL, somebody not getting their NIL money. It's just I'm not trying to speculate anything. I'm just going by the feel of the game, the feel of the athletes, what I'm seeing and what I'm just hearing. So I'm just paying attention to everything. Then last night, Lincoln Riley had his new his press conference where everybody called in on we USC, whatever the website is, and he mentioned that Eric Gentry was rusty. 30 minutes later, Gentry get on Twitter X and said number 18 was not rusty. Well, I'm starting to notice pushback amongst the players towards the coaches, and I'm like thinking, okay, something's going on. I've never seen something like that before unless it's dysfunctional in the locker room. Something is going on. Then I noticed tomorrow's game is going to be interesting because I cannot wait to see what the two play callers they're going to have tomorrow, what lineup they're going to put out there at the linebacker. Because I read that Grinch signed off who got playing time. Now, is we going to see Cobb out there tomorrow or are we going to see Shaw out there? Well, I mentioned them two names. They were always the one that defended Alex Grinch throughout the season. And just from being a former player, the player that always talks most about a specific position coach, that's their boy right there. They look, they have that cohesive, they have that mesh right there. Nobody else defended them more than them two right there. So I'm interested to see if Shaw is going to start tomorrow or how much playing time is going to be. Because after that Colorado game, he shouldn't have been playing the following week, but he was starting. And I'm like, okay, what's really going on? Are you guys really trying to win? Or is it really, this buddy system I'm hearing about amongst that locker room? I don't know how you feel about it, what you think about it. That's what I see. That just comes from my personal feeling.
I think Bryson Shaw, when played in the right way, put in the right positions, he's great. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of him in space. I think he's not that the role's not cut out for him with speed wise. But you put him in the box and you let him go downhill. He's one of our better tacklers, in my opinion. Exactly. He's one of the more sound tacklers we have. Sure. But there have been times where they have keyed in on him. They picked on him a little bit, and then they've had some success. I don't know. That's people get paid a lot more money than I do to make those choices. It's going to be interesting, like you said. I've heard all that stuff as well. I've heard some other stuff going on. It's going to be interesting to see what, like you said, the linebacker at safety. It's going to be interesting that what the shakeup's going to be and playing time. There's been a lot of questions, and we might see a lot of difference. Matt, any thoughts on the personnel?
Well, the caller, expressed the sentiment that the culture or the vibe, the mood, the relationships in the locker room haven't been great. Referencing the Eric Gentry as a case in point. To me, if we're looking back on this season and we're trying to identify moments when something seemed wrong, something seemed off, and USC was set up for trouble, set up to fail. To me, it was the Arizona game. To me, that was the moment when, that's when I went, we're not going to be a playoff team. We might not even make the Pac-12 championship game. We're going to lose a couple games coming up. And they won that game, and they were still 6-0. But that was the week I went from 11-1 to 10-2. Turns out I should have downgraded them even more to 9-3. Or 8-4, but that Arizona game to me was the moment when, this could be bad, because you get the Arizona State game after the off week in mid-September. Okay, guys are a little bit bored. They're playing the lower end of the Pac-12. They didn't get tested the first 3 games of the season. All right, sloppy performance. Fine. This team is still ultra talented. You go to Colorado, they put it on the Buffs in the first half, and they show that talent. They showed, what they were capable of in that first half, but then the implosion in the second half. And then after the game, and this gets to the heart of it, after the Colorado game, Bryson Shaw passionately stands up for Alex Grinch. After the Colorado game, he says, it's not the coach's fault, it's the player's fault. We are letting down the coach. So the Arizona game was a moment where you had two big things going on. One was, all right, if Arizona State and Colorado were wake-up calls, then you got to be ready against Arizona. Like, if every week can't be a wake-up call, you have to decide what kind of team you are. So that was one thing. The other thing was Bryson Shaw going to bat for Alex Grinch. If you're going to defend your coach in public, you better be there the next game to make a statement. And USC was not ready to play at the start of that Arizona game. And I know they scrambled to win it, but they were fortunate. But just the fact that, if this USC team was for real, they would have been up 17-0 in the first quarter. They would have beaten Arizona by 30 points. Click, clack. Here we are. Instead, a very ragged, uneven game. And I know Arizona's turned out to be a really good team, not trying to take away anything from what the Wildcats have done this year. But just, if you're defending your head coach in public in front of the press, and if you've had two sloppy games that are supposed to be wake-up calls, that Arizona game needed to be the get-right game where USC planted its flag, made a statement, and went into Notre Dame saying, here we are, we're back, we're ready to do this thing. Totally the opposite of that. And just the fact that they won, it could not cover up all the warts, all the flaws, all the limitations of this team. That, to me, was the moment when I sensed something was significantly wrong with the 2023 USC Trojans.
All great points. And Frank, also, thank you for waiting and waiting to get on the call. I'm sorry, the calls are stacking up right now. Actually, people have dropped. But Frank, listen, the call back next week, because I want to hear your thoughts on Tom Allen, because that's one of the guys that, because I know you're a big, you know a lot about Indiana, but not tonight, Frank. Not tonight, Frank. We're gonna talk about that later. Okay.
All right, yes, sir.
All right, fight on, Frank. Thank you so much for calling.
Bye-bye.
All right, so we got you guys. We'll get you guys. We're trying to speed it up for you guys. Really sorry, Matt and I, we get talking. So, hi, caller. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, this is Gary, and I'm from Dana Point, California. And I have an editorial comment and then a real concern. First place, it would be helpful if Lincoln Riley could have heard Enrique and the content that you guys have concerning the state of the program and what's really needed. That's my editorial comment. He's not hearing anything like that. I don't even know what he's listening to. Maybe he's got a nice, iPhone playlist that he listens to, but he's not listening to the truth. And the second thing I want to say is that I've been watching the Trojans since 1953, and I have watched the program for a lot of years. We had sanctions back in 1957 when my hero, John Arnett, was not allowed to play in all the games.
Jaguar, John Arnett.
Allowed only to play in. That's right. He was only allowed to play in half of the game. We survived that, but we went into a real hole. Now we come to the sanctions that came out from the Bush thing, bogus as it was. We're coming out of that hole, so to speak. But I'm telling you right now, my concern is this program. It's hard to change an image. And right now, in the last 2 years, as much as Lincoln Riley has done some good, there is real damage. We can't get key recruits. I don't think you can repair that by hiring a defensive coordinator. So I'm concerned about the situation and the long-term view of the program. But I'm concerned about the next year or two. I don't think we're on the right path.
Well, I can say this to you, Gary. Well, first off, thank you for being Trojan so many years. You and my dad have some great conversations because he didn't go quite that far back, but pretty darn close to early 60s. I would say to you that a defensive coordinator can make that difference as far as recruiting. The key is sure, NIL is great, but players want to be developed. Players want to see they have a path to the NFL. Families and players want to know, and coaches of these players want to know these kids will be taken care of, and they have a path to the NFL. You get the right defensive coordinator, those guys that are going to other schools, they're going to come to SC. Believe me. And USC just needs to show them a system that's going to showcase them, make them feel comfortable, show them results on the field, but most importantly, show them results in the draft. And if we bring in a guy with those kind of credentials, immediately we are going to see that. The other thing is if we bring someone that might not have all those things I just said, but they start to put them in positions and these guys start getting drafted, that's going to come. Matt, any thoughts on sharing what Gary shared with us?
Just, hey, Gary, I have to ask, what's your favorite John McKay moment?
Well, my favorite John McKay moment was when he went to Alabama and took care of this massive amount of discrimination that was going on in this country with black athletes. He went down there and thrashed them. Mm-hmm. And it was a seminal moment for me. So that's probably one of mine. And the other was actually attending a John McKay practice when I was 18 years old. So those are my good moments.
Wow, that's amazing. Amazing. Make sure you check out. We on the channel here, we had an interview right before the Notre Dame game with J.K. McKay and Jeff McKay, and we talked a lot about those John McKay moments. You might like it. And anyone out there that knows, basically, in my opinion, the best coach USC has ever had in the history of the Trojans, go check that interview out. It is definitely worth the hour you will spend. Anything else for us, Gary? By the way, thank you, Gary. Thank you so much for the nice words at the beginning. I don't think I have any. I'm sure you're probably talking about Matt, because nothing comes out of this mouth is going to be useful to Lincoln Riley. But I appreciate all your kind words earlier in your call.
Well, you're welcome. I've never called into a program in all the 78 years of my life, but I was so inspired by Enrique that I had to. And you guys always hit it out of the park. I look long for every single moment I can get from you guys, and also including Trojan Wire. So anyway, I appreciate what you guys do. You give hope to people like myself. I hope I live long enough to see USC really good again. But thank you.
You will, Gary. And thank you,
Gary, you
so much.
Day.
Awesome. Great call. Gary, I hope you call back. You haven't called in all those years. I hope you start making a regular call. We appreciate your thoughts and we appreciate your kind words. Thank you so much, Gary.
All right. Thank you. Right on.
Right on. All right. Just amazing. And I do, by the way, really quickly before I go to the next caller, you guys, if you could hit that like button and hit the subscribe down the corner. I was doing that wrong. Down the corner by Matt in the very corner, you'll see a subscribe. You guys subscribe. You'll know when these things go live. Make sure you are calling in. Make sure that you are subscribing and hitting the notification bell so you know when we go live, because it means a lot to us. We're trying to build the channel. We want to start getting some bigger names, and the bigger that subscription count goes, maybe we might even get some press credentials. We'll see one day, right? Caller, thank you for calling in. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, guys. It's Alan. I'm calling from Hawaii.
Alan, I think you called last week, didn't you?
No, I tried to. No, I didn't call, but I am a frequent commenter on the chat. Yeah, my dad is an alumnus. I went there. I went to SC. I didn't graduate from there, but my dad was in Cardinal Gold, and I've been to every home game since 1973 until I moved here in 2001.
Wow.
So I've seen them all. I've seen Anthony Davis. I was there for the 55-24 Notre Dame. Charles White, Marcus Allen, Ricky Bell. I've seen them all. And what I wonder about today's team is, I wonder if Lincoln Riley wants to win only if he can win his way rather than doing whatever it takes to win. Because he seems to be missing a whole lot of stuff. In-game adjustments and whatnot. Why you run the ball in the first quarter, rack up all those yards, and then stop. I just don't get it. It's like, can you tell me why?
I could venture a guess, and I'll just say this: you run when the numbers favor you, and if you're running the ball really well, right? They want to make you. They think they're going to drop a bunch of guys, and you can run them out of it. Sometimes that front will change. And if the numbers don't favor you running into a loaded box, as good as I think this team is, and as great as Marshawn Lloyd and Austin Jones are, you run into that loaded box, your odds on first down, second down are not successful. Last thing you want to do is see your success rate drop and get behind, schedule for that first down. That's what I will say to you. I will say to you, I agree with your sentiment, though. I want to see, this is USC. This bullshit we keep hearing that we're not tough, we can't run the ball from the rest of the country. That's just rubbish. We showed these guys how to run the ball for decades. So USC can run the ball. I think that, I'm just saying, and long-time listeners know how excited I am about this freshman class of linemen that came in. We will be, I'll tell you this, Alan, I don't know about the rest of this year, but we will going forward. We will be running the ball a lot more behind these guys. Your thoughts, Matt?
Yeah, I mean, I think the caller is spot on that Lincoln Riley wants to win his way. I think that's so true. I think Lincoln Riley, he gets offended when he loses because his offense doesn't perform. I don't think he gets offended when he loses because his defense doesn't perform. And I made the point a week ago on one of our call-in shows on Sunday, when Alex Grinch got fired, that Pete Carroll would prefer to play a 27-10 game. Lincoln Riley would prefer to play a 52-35 game. But it's more than just preferring to play a certain way. If Pete Carroll wins a 52-35 game, he's happy. But if Lincoln Riley plays a 27-10 game, he's dissatisfied. And I mean, it's the wrong kind of dissatisfaction, that he wants his offense to shine, and he wants to be the smartest guy in the room. And that is in many ways the change that Lincoln Riley needs to make. Surround yourself with brilliant defensive minds. You don't have to be the smartest guy in the room. Hire an elite coordinator. If he's smarter than you, but you win national championships, that's the point. That's what this is all supposed to be about. It's not that everything is supposed to magnify Lincoln Riley's brilliant offensive mind. Pete Carroll, he's a defense-first coach, but do you think he cares whether it's the offense or the defense for his teams that wins a game? No, he's all about fun and competition, and he has this more expansive view of everything. It's why he's so great. This guy in his 70s, he's still so great at relating to the modern athlete. He would not relate to athletes the way he does if he wasn't open-minded the way he is. Lincoln Riley is still closed-minded in a number of ways, and that's really what this defensive coordinator search is going to reveal. Will he be willing to hire the best guy, even if that makes him look a little smaller, in terms of just sheer brain power or football knowledge? If he's serious about winning, he'll hire a guy who's as smart or smarter than he is, instead of hiring someone who's, average or slightly above average, so that he remains the smartest guy in the room. I think that is a hugely important talking point as we head into this defensive coordinator search.
Yeah. Very, very solid points. Really quickly, Alan, hold on a second.
It seems to me,
Alan, hold on a second for me. Sorry. I'm so sorry to interrupt you. Robbie, LBC Robbie, again, from day one, has been just one of the biggest supporters of the show. What he's done here is he's gifted somebody a membership to the channel. The membership was helped Mark to make this all happen. So we appreciate you guys that are joining it. You can join for as little as, I believe it's $4.99. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong on that, Matt. And you do get benefits to it. I'll let Matt explain that a little more, but we appreciate you guys, all of you, just being here. This is just a cream of the crop. And Robbie, you've done it time and time again. Thank you so much for being such a great supporter. I'm sorry, Alan, go ahead.
No worries. So Matt, I think you're 100% right about Lincoln wanting to be the smartest guy in the room, but the way that he's running his team at SC, he's showing that he's not the smartest guy in the room, because he's not placing nearly as much importance on the run game on offense or on the defense. I mean, John McKay used to say, we're going to run student body left, we're going to student body right. Here it comes. We're going to run it until you stop it.
Yeah.
And why can't they do that? They stop it once or twice, and okay, I gotta give up. We go back to the pass.
Wait,
keep running the rock to set up the pass.
Alan,
go.
Do you remember those offensive lines that John McKay had and John Robinson? When we have when we have all pros backing up all pros, when we have Hall of Famers, littered across the line. I promise you will always Lincoln Riley. So everyone says Lincoln Riley doesn't care about defense, I care about offense. I'll even concede that. I don't think it's true, but let's say that if Lincoln Riley has the running backs we have, or especially you have like a Charles White, a Marcus Allen, a Ricky Bell, behind them and running behind Brad Buddy and Anthony Munoz and lines like that, Keith Van Horn, I think we will see student body right, right, going back to the 60s, Yeri. We will see right, left. Here, by the way, we're going right this time. Stop us. We will see that, but right now, I don't think our offensive line is ready for that. I keep saying it over and over and over again. I like our offensive line. I just don't think they're as nasty as the guys like Page and Talalele and Banuelos, right? That we're going to have coming up. Alani Noah, Tobias Raymond. These guys that came in on that freshman class are amazing. This will be the Benny Wiley. We'll see how he can develop these guys and get them strong moving forward, possibly, Matt. But I think that we do have some gems in that class, and I think we're going to add to it. Alan, anything else for us?
Well, it hurt me. I couldn't watch the second half of the Cal game because of how embarrassing it was. I want to get back to watching from first kickoff to, zeros on the clock again. And I can't do it the way that we're playing now. And I look forward to being able to. I hope that we get a strength and conditioning coach that can develop, make these guys strong enough so we can run the ball again. And then just basically pound it and say, we dare you to stop it. Now it's like, oh, okay, we got stopped. Let's give up. I'm tired of that. But anyway, thanks, guys. I really appreciate what you do, giving us fans a chance to voice our opinions, and appreciate you very much.
Well, thank you so much. Fight on, Alan. We appreciate you guys. Without you guys, I truly mean this. You guys are the star of the show. And you guys, if you want, make sure you're calling in. We appreciate everyone. We even take calls from Eugene. You guys call in. Let us know your feelings on the big game tomorrow and the state of the program. Alan, just solid call as all the calls have been tonight. This has been a great night, Matt. It makes our job a lot easier when we got all these really good thoughts coming in. Fight on, Alan. Take care, man. Bye. Let's try to get to this super chat really quick. Matt, do you want to grab the super chat while I'm getting the next caller?
Well, just Enrique has set the bar really high in terms of all-time calls. I mean, that was straight out of a movie. Whether it was a leader of a drug cartel or a leader of a Mexican dynastic family. I mean, however you want to put it, you could just imagine so many different movie scenarios or characters. There was also a little bit of Princess Bride. My name is Inigo Montoya. You killed my father. Prepare to die. There was also a little bit of that kind of flavor from Enrique. Just a majestic phone call that just had so many different components and flavors to it. I'm in awe of Enrique.
Well, hold on. Let me drop back to one. So this was earlier from Adam. 3 most inspired figures: God, Reagan, and Enrique. I can agree with 2 of those, right? I'm gonna tell you right now. But yes, actually, high praise, Adam. Appreciate that, and really appreciate this right here. Remember, we dominated Oklahoma and shut down Jason White. That's the culture we need. Enrique is now my second favorite figure besides God. Yeah, he's moving up. Reagan was 2. Now Enrique's moving up. He's 2 now. So Enrique, you're on the move, and we appreciate both of you guys, Enrique and Adam. Yes, we do want that. We do need those Sean Codys, right? They just kind of crush the middle. That's what USC football is about. Those Oklahoma guys, when over at Oklahoma. Did I say Oklahoma? I did. The Oklahoma guys back, they were talking a lot back in the message board days, and they're saying about how soft the California. Does it sound familiar, Trojans? How soft they were, and then between every time they go, and then they continue to talk about, there's surfer boys, and that's all you would hear is just them talking smack about California, talking about the Trojans, and then those Trojans, that group of Trojans, went to Miami and kicked their asses. And that's the kind of thing. That's why Trojan, I know that's why you guys are so mad, because that's what we expect here at USC. And I'm telling you, that's coming soon. Caller, thank you so much for calling in. Appreciate you taking the time. What's your name and where you're from?
Dan from Eugene, Oregon.
Dan from Eugene, Oregon. Uh-oh. Okay. I'm ready, Dan.
Well, first off, Tim and Matt, you guys host one of the best Pac-12 shows out there. I love what you guys are doing for the voice of college football. I wish we had more of the teams that could put on a good show like this. I tune in all the time.
Awesome, Dan. Thank you so much.
Very
All
kind.
joking aside, I really appreciate that.
Yeah. Man, I don't understand what it's like to be a USC fan because I'm a Duck fan. I've only really been a fan since like 2009. That's when I started really paying attention to college football. Used to be a Niner fan before that. And we've been kicking ass. We went through the whole Chip Kelly era versus you guys. My first game was the Fright Night game on Halloween when we got the W. And in my lifetime of being a fan versus you guys, we're 6-2. And I feel like USC's just not living up to their name. Ever since the Pac-12 got developed, I just went through the list and I was trying to count real quick while I was on hold, but College Game Day has been at an Oregon game like 15 times. USC has only been a part of it like twice since 2012, something like that. And just, can USC reach the level that they once were at? You guys got 18.5 million people in your metropolitan area, and you can't sell out your games, which seems crazy to me. And like, there used to not be a pro team there when it was the Pete Carroll era, and you guys were at the top. Now you got 2 pro teams. Can USC become what they once were?
Well, yeah, we didn't have, but but remember though, we saw the Dodgers, we saw the Lakers. So you're still competing for eyeballs. And by the way, first off, great points across the board. You know, if you'd become a fan in 1994, I think, or 95, I can't remember. You know, it's been a good run by what the Ducks have done, starting with Bellotti or Brooks, and then Bellotti into, you talk about Chip Kelly, and it's been kind of a hodgepodge lately. But what Dan Lanning has done last year is, I like to take shots at you guys and take shots at him. But what he's done this year, especially, is special. You know, you guys got a great team. You guys got a really good chance. Literally, God, I can't believe I'm gonna say this, of winning the whole thing with players on both sides of the ball. But here's where I will hit the brakes. Yes, USC has been buried as a fan base, as a program. I don't know. In my lifetime, you know, it happened during that. It happened before. Definitely in Hackett. You know, you guys are over. We had local guys saying this is a Bruin town for some unknown reason. Then you had, like, going back even to when we had the late 80s, where it had been a while since we had Robinson McKay success. You had Smith teams that were getting to the Rose Bowl, but kind of just coming up just short, you know, and then trying to bring back John Robinson, and then Hackett, and then boom, burying us again. I'm telling you this. Yes, when USC is serious and when we have a good coach, the record shows what we can do. Even back when we were competing with baseball and basketball. You're right, Pete Carroll, but he was selling out, 90,000, right? He was just doing on the regular 93,000 seats. He did that for 2 straight seasons and beat everybody across the country. USC is a special place. Eugene, you guys are doing a great job. I always think that the Pacific Northwest teams, you guys play out of your mind, and you do great. But we're still, I mean, when you talk about selling out a stadium at Autzen, I get you guys say, well, you have so many people around here, but you guys, stadiums like what, 50 something thousand, 50 and change thousand. USC sells out every single game. USC is, I think, second in the conference in attendance, just right behind Washington, who's having a great season. Yes, it's just like everything. If USC starts winning, they will get eyeballs. They will get people in the seats. It's just a matter of time. If USC has the right coach, which I do believe we have with Lincoln Riley, when he figures out his defensive coordinator, which I think is the missing piece, when he starts building both lines, because I think we all got excited after last year. We already had a great offensive line last year, kind of depleted on the defensive line. But we lost 2 key pieces. You got to give Riley a couple of years. When Lanning came in, you're going to be the first one to tell me this. He had a stock covered, right? What Lincoln Riley walked into was nothing like the roster that Lanning walked into.
Yeah, I don't know. The Mario Ball era was just so boring.
It was bad coaching, but you had athletes there. You had the most. He had stockpiled for you guys. Kind of think of it, as before when Ron Zook was in Florida, and then you have Urban Meyer walk in there. They were underperforming, but they had a lot of pieces. He recruited very well, and boom. So you put the right coach in there, it takes off. And that's what's happening with Lanning. Well, the situation here in Southern California wasn't the same thing. We did not have. We had some studs. We sprinkled around this team. We have guys that can play with anybody in this country, but we did not have the depth on both sides of the line that you need to compete week in and week out. Matt?
Well, 2009 was a great year to start following Oregon football. That's for darn sure, because you just got right in with the Chip Kelly years that established Oregon as a top-tier power for several seasons before, Mariota's Heisman season going to the national championship game. So 2009, that was great timing. And of course, what else happened in 2009? That's when Pete Carroll left, and then the NCAA sanctions hit. So that was really, really, good timing. And USC is still, really trying to recover from all of that. So, Lincoln Riley was tasked with building back the empire, and this year he stepped in a pothole, and that's why this defensive coordinator search and how he handles Benny Wiley are just two hugely important things. And Gixxer Squid, thanks for the super chat. Gixxer, one of our best viewers here at the Voice of College Football. He's optimistic. And hey, if Lincoln Riley nails this, with help from Jen Cohen, nails this defensive coordinator hire, I'll be optimistic too. But of course, we need to see what Lincoln Riley delivers, because Alex Grinch was mediocre. You can't have mediocre and expect to win national championships. So you just got to get this thing right. And then Gixxer, we will be headed up definitely in the Big Ten.
Any final thoughts, Daniel? Appreciate you calling in. Again, all jokes aside, we're going to give you, we appreciate Oregon fans and opposing fans calling in. You brought some great points. You guys are on a pretty good run. I have to beat you guys because then I can't call you guys a discount Ducks. So any thoughts coming in?
No, man, I love the show. I'll let some other people get in here. I'll try calling back soon.
All right. Appreciate you, Daniel.
And I'm good for a couple more callers. There's some deadline writing I need to do.
I think we're good for an hour and a half. Usually, we usually say a half hour. We'll see how it goes. We're now an hour past that half hour mark. I guess I'll give you guys one last second. I won't do it to you, Matt. I'm going to shut the phones off as soon as we call the plug here. But last chance, you guys, 888-997-4539. Call in. Also, you guys, if you haven't, please take a second, go down and hit that like and subscribe button. It really, really helps us out. I mean, I know it's free. It takes you guys just a second, but that's how we're trying to grow the channel. And the best way to do it is it just takes 2 seconds. Bam, hit that like button. Bam, hit that subscribe button, and hit that bell notification. Because if you hit the bell notification, you know that when we'll be live, because a lot of these things are not announced. We do, however, we'll have our weekly show, but if news pops up, if we hear something about defensive coordinator, if we have a devastating loss or an amazing win, you will hear us pop up probably on a Sunday or sometime during the week. So make sure that you are subscribed. Make sure that you have your notifications on as well. And I think that is going to do it, Matt. No calls. Really appreciate really quick. Adam, thank you for calling in as always. We had Gabe from Trojan Blade, Enrique from Oxnard, Randy from Eugene, Brandon called in from Light the Torch, Big Frank from Tucson, Gary from Dana Point, Alan from Hawaii, and you guys heard Daniel from Eugene. Thanks you guys so much again. Gixxer, did we hit this already? I'm sorry. I was taking that call. Did you cover it really quick?
I did.
And then we had one more. I think we had actually one more super chat that came in. If I can grab it really fast. Sorry. From John. He wants to know, Tim and Matt, what are your score predictions for tomorrow? Matt, go ahead while I try to scramble my head and remember what I said earlier in the week.
Okay. Well, last week I said Washington 56, USC 35. USC was a little bit closer than that, but, nailed the part where, the opponent scores at least 50 points. I see no reason to do it anything differently here. Oregon 56, USC 31.
So I'm getting caught up in the Enrique vibes, but I still just can't quite go to a USC win. Unfortunately, I think USC loses a close one in this game. And I do think it's close throughout most of the game. I don't have a score for you. I hope I can get away with that, John. I just think that USC is going to run perfect. But then obviously, just like most offenses, they're going to have a hiccup and drop a couple. I think SC loses this game by 9 points. I think it will be closer than most people think. So I'm going to stick with that.
42, 33.
Something in that range. I think for SC to keep it that close, they cannot get into the high 40s and 50s. Then I think it'll be much more than that, because I think morale. You guys, this is college football, and these guys fight, but it's kind of tough to stay up when you're complete mathematically out of the game. So yeah, the wheels kind of fell off the thing in Notre Dame. We saw that. That's a tough place, a magical place, kind of a crazy place to play. Eugene is raucous and loud and crazy, and the crowd is going to just feed off the team. And if that score goes up, it's going to get even crazier. So they need to keep this thing close. Hey, you know what? A good recipe, like we saw at Rice Eccles, you get out to a big jump, you get out ahead, and you get those fans on their hands. So, and even at Eugene, I've seen Eugene quiet. If you can jump all over them, you can get a chance at that. This offense, our defense, we'll see if that can happen. But anything's happened. Pac-12 after dark, late game, Pac-12, anything can happen.
And we need to mention this. Maybe USC can call forth the spirit of Matt Barkley from 2011. That was a signature upset road win in Autzen Stadium. Not predicting it, but this has happened before. The Trojans have done it before.
You guys, if you haven't already, everyone here, I know you know who Gabe is. I know you know who his channel. Make sure you're getting over there. He's just got a great preview. He has some great thoughts on the program as well. Go check it out. The Trojan Blade here on YouTube. We're here tomorrow night, the after show, after the post game show here on USC Voice College Football. As soon as the game is over, it's an away game, so I'll be popping on right away to start the show. Make sure you come check us out. We'll be taking calls later in the evening after the show. Make sure you're part of that. You guys enjoy the game tomorrow. The Trojans will come out fighting. Let's hope that I'm wrong. I'm really hoping I'm wrong, and USC can stay in this conference championship race. But no matter what, you guys stay behind our Trojans. These guys are fighting for you. Matt, thank you again. I know I kept you late again. We always talk about a half hour. Now it's an hour and a half into it, and we're still here. But that's because you callers.
Great calls tonight.
Yeah, you callers really brought it.
Hey, Enrique, the classic all-timer call, but also Gary, 78 years old. He's never called into any sports or internet talk show, and this is his first call at age 78. Wow, that really moved me. That's a testament to what you've built, Tim.
We've all built. Awesome job, Matt. Awesome job, callers. You guys are the stars. Look down there. We'll see you guys all tomorrow night. And then again, make sure you're hitting that subscription. You're hitting the subscribe and notification so you know when we go live for the next one. Fight on, everybody. Let's beat the Ducks.